Welcome to NFL Daily, where we never get tired of naming some guys. I'm Gregg Rosenthal, here in the Chris Wesseling podcast studio. Packed house for our first preview show of the 2025 season. To my left, the indomitable Steve Wyche. To his left, Jourdan Rodrigue. And yes, the man who inspired the Claymates. It is Patrick Claybon.
Yes.
We're back. This is it.
We're here.
Week 1 is here.
Real football.
Jourdan on the preview show.
Oh my God, this is an honor.
It gets no better.
We sent out our weekly schedule, and I don't know if we've really talked about it on the show, but we're going to have the same group of folks covering every week on the same days in our preview show, as long as Steve is available.
I will not be here next Wednesday.
I know Steve's busy sometimes, but otherwise we got our Tuesday crew, we got our preview crew, and we've got our Sunday crew where Jourdan, myself, Patrick, and Shook helping me out on the recaps, and I'm so excited, and I'm also excited to finally remember to announce that yes, the competition to decide the name of Patrick's fan base ended up being the Claymates, beating out the Claybon Bonds and the Claybon Vivants, which got a lot of comments.
Those
People
are
like the
all
Claybon
good.
Vivants, yeah. But they are officially known as the Claymates forevermore, and they're going to be excited about this week 1 schedule.
Congratulations to all that were involved. Thank you. I can't believe anybody took their time.
Thousands. You saw it. Like 6,000
a lot of people were
voted.
I mean,
excited.
that's thousands of people love you, Greg.
No.
They'll do. You could have been like, hey, what should I have? A cheese sandwich or a PB&J? You got thousands of them. But thank you for anybody that thinks of me ever.
I also love this show maybe more than the rest because Patrick assists me here and like sets up all the games and makes it easy with the point spreads and the announcers. Like it's all happening.
We're doing it. And why don't we fire this?
Please.
Let's get to it.
Right now, we will start with Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
Win a game, playoff rematch. It is the Baltimore Ravens at the Buffalo Bills, who are giving up a half of a point. The over-under 51.5. You know the names: Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, and Melissa Stark, all there. Carrie Underwood. It's going to be a fun time. Greg, how do you see the playoff rematch going?
Well, we're going to get to Super Bowl picks later in the show. I should have mentioned that. I'm putting everyone on the line here that we just have to plant the flag. Jourdan doesn't like picking anything. So she is going to be involved in picking the Super Bowl, and we're going to have Survivor picks again. We're all starting
Oh,
over.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm annoyed because this game should be a bigger deal, right? Like, if this was any other week of the season, the Bills and the Ravens, literally in Vegas, the two co-favorites to win the Super Bowl this year. They have the best odds. And yet, because there's so many other great games going on in week 1 and so many other plot lines, like, I feel like this isn't getting enough pop. I want to, throw this to you, Jourdan. We were going to do something on our show on Wednesday, or on Tuesday, and I was going to come back to this. It was going to be a part where we said, pick a team that you're not so sure is going to make the playoffs, that everyone expects to make the playoffs. And I forgot to do that part of the show. But you were going to say Bills, which is
it's paraphrasing what I said a little, Greg, as you tend to do. But yes, it was. I'm worried about their defense. I'm scared for the Bills because I'm worried about their defense. I still think this is a playoff team.
I was about to say,
Allen,
is it a matter of not making the playoffs or advancing through the playoffs?
Josh Allen is still on this football team. Advancing deep into the playoffs is what I'm more worried about with this Bills team, and I'm worried about what this defense will look like right away. They're missing some guys in key spots. I'm especially worried about their perimeter corners. Tre'Davious White is nursing some injuries. Obviously, Maxwell Hairston was hurt, and Christian Benford is still, his status is still limited in practice this week. So I am super worried about this secondary, and I really think that with Lamar and the passing game, and we saw Lamar run like many, many, many times to start the season last year. I think we see him throw it a lot to start the season this year.
I look. Buffalo's going to the playoffs. Their division is
this is how we go off the rails early.
The category literally was team that everyone expects to make the playoffs that doesn't.
And I said out loud, I'm kind of worried about the Bills. And Greg goes, "Oh, I'm bringing it up tomorrow."
Look, this is more when you think about Baltimore. The slow starts started 0-2, right? So they finished with one more loss than Buffalo last year. So they have to go up in the snow. And this is truly a home field advantage game right here.
Mhm.
And so I think, doesn't look like the Ravens are going to have Isaiah Likely, which is tough because I think they're going to try to do a lot of too tight stuff early on, but that's still what they're probably going
They
to try
got
to
Charlie Kolar.
Yeah. I mean, they got Pat Ricard too. They'll do what they have to do. But I just think this is, when you listen to the stuff coming out of Baltimore, like they're like, we remember who beat us last.
Yeah.
So it seems like this may mean more to them, so to speak. Not that it doesn't mean a lot to Buffalo. I think the Ravens are going to be so loaded, and I'm with you. I think it's going to be throwing the ball.
They're going to throw it so much.
And their
against the secondary. They have to.
And their defense the Ravens' defense last year, the first 6 weeks was terrible. They're going to be better. I mean, they got Malachi Starks in there. I was at training camp. He looks sick back there with Kyle Hamilton at safety. Just got to stop the run against Buffalo. Josh Allen, man, got to put a helmet on him. That's it.
A resident Ravens fan, I know, feels uncomfortable with
What?
all the preseason love that's going the Ravens' way. I feel like there's a lot of Super Bowl hype. There's a lot of people saying they're going to try extra hard this week, to use your phrasing. And if I was Patrick, I'm trying to put myself in the mind of a Claymate, or at least Patrick. I would be like, yeah, you know why the Ravens lost that game is because the Bills ran right through them.
Yep.
Especially in the first half of that game, but it was like 150 yards. And the Bills' running attack, to me, is very underrated. I love the backups behind James Cook, Ty Johnson, and Ray Davis, and I love the continuity on the offensive line. So that's a concern for me for the Ravens.
And to be honest, like to go back through the playoffs, I know it was a road game. Baltimore beat Buffalo handily earlier in the season. To me, it was one of those situations, much like the loss of the Chiefs. When Zay Flowers fumbled at the 1 yard line, it's a situation where you turn the ball over. That's how these playoff.
That's how it happens.
Turn the ball over. You don't protect the ball. It's not round. It goes to the other team, and that's something that Lamar had mentioned. I too, considering the way Zach Orr's defense started last season, there was clearly a growing process.
Yeah.
Right, that we saw the culmination of. A lot of those guys are back. I think Jalen Armour-Davis plays a bigger role in this season, and you mentioned Malachi Starks. But to me, my big concern in this game is on the other side, the fact that Khalil Shakir is not available, and that is not going to be a problem in 1 week. But the accumulation of stress that this offense and this team and Josh Allen puts on himself physically to carry this team with a limited option out there will ultimately be a problem. It's not going to be a problem in 1 week. Josh Allen can do it just like Lamar can, right? But you want to limit the involvement for these guys, as great as they are, as the season goes on, because it's a very long season. But it's a coin toss, just like I mean, these teams basically had essentially the same stats. Incredibly efficient offenses. I think in terms of margin of victory, almost the point differential, 157 points for both teams last season. Like neck and neck, comes down to a 2-point conversion. So yeah, they're both good. We'll see who wins Sunday.
Yeah, for the Bills, I agree. I think you do want to run it or try to with that group that they have. They had so much. Joe Brady had so much fun scheming things up for Ray Davis last year too, which is I'm eager to see the development there. But you want to run it and try to run it against this Ravens defense, and you don't want to pass it against this Ravens secondary with the way that they've developed last year under Zach Orr, second year as his defensive coordinator. But then at the same time, and what the Bills have going for them too is that they have continuity along this offensive line. So running the ball, yes, because the way that I think Zach Orr is going to want to try to play Josh Allen and the receiving core is as sort of limping right now as they are, is you're going to want to try to rush 4, which we need the Ravens to show us that a little bit more into this year. Mike Green and Kyle Van Noy. They want to try to play man coverage behind him because Josh Allen dramatically improves statistically when you're sending extra pressure. Even when if you're only rushing 4 and everybody's back in coverage the way that we know that the Ravens want to play, he struggled. He struggled last year.
Joey DeBosa debut, and just keep an eye on the Ravens claimed or signed a 3-time All-Pro special teamer JT Gray from the Saints. I know this.
How about that? That guy's
good.
He's
just
an
another
player, though.
Everyone's like, oh, like Howie did it again. How about Eric DeCosta did it again right before the season?
There we go. So we leave a game on Sunday Night Football that we all know everything about.
Here we go.
These are not a lot of known commodities, and then we go to Monday. And that is when J.J. McCarthy gets the chance to start against Ben Johnson's Chicago Bears, who are favored by who are getting 1.5 points with an over-under of 43.5. The Vikings favorite here. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Lisa Salters on the call. Steve, we have waited for Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. We finally get a chance to see it on Monday night.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of it is, it's not just the trust of whether he can do a certain job. It's the sharing the wealth. That's what keeps me up at night, is trying to make sure that all of our horses are fed, because these guys, I mean, they're super talented players, and we just need to get them a little space and the ball in their hands, and they can make big things happen.
I mean, says the guy coming from the Detroit Lions who found a way to spread the wealth. First off, the line at 43.5, that's like 20 points too high for me.
Wow.
You think it's a defensive game?
You've got Dennis Allen.
I
People
agree.
forget about that.
Yeah.
People forget that Dennis Allen is now the
Yeah.
Bears defensive coordinator. He's a great defensive coordinator. Against Brian Flores. Like, this is going to be like a 10-9 game to me. All these offensive gurus and this and that. This is going to be a defensive game to me. I like what he said about spreading the ball around. When you're facing Brian Flores, you have no choice. You've got to kind of find the guy who's there, and it might be Adam Thielen. Remember, he's back in Minnesota now. They don't have Jourdan Addison. I think this is going to be a real interesting game, because I think this Bears defense is going to be really good this year, getting Montez Sweat coming over. And one thing about Dennis Allen, his edge guys are always really good against the run, and even better when they get you into known passing situations. And that's what's going to happen here.
It's such an advantage when he's talking about keeping our horses' mouths fed. Like, first of all, that's weird. But second, I was identifying. Now we're 4 across on this preview show, so we got a lot of high volume, high scoring shooters here, and we need to all get our points. And you look at these two teams, like the Bears are so much deeper in terms of their pass catching talent, at least, than the Vikings. You have to bring in Adam Thielen to be your number 2, granted only for 3 weeks, and they have T.J. Hawkinson, who I guess is the number 2, but still.
Aaron Jones.
And he, weirdly, they reported had to take a pay cut to go there, which is fascinating to me, that the Vikings didn't want him that bad, I guess, and just a strange little addendum to that. But think about this: Cole Kmet is the tight end 2 now. Like, he's the he's the backup tight end, and their wide receivers 3 and 4 are your guy. Zacchaeus is probably 3, Patrick, who's a really good 3,
really
and Luther
guy.
Burden, who looks pretty interesting, is like the number 4. Like, that is a deep group that Ben Johnson has to work with, and Ben Johnson destroyed Brian Flores when he was with the Lions and when Flores with the Vikings. I went to look at the numbers thinking it'd be the other way around. It was like, no, the Lions absolutely steamrolled them game after game.
And to credit what Ben Johnson is pointing out there is when the spread of talent and the number of things that you can do, he's clearly a coach who wants to get certain players in certain positions with the ball, not necessarily to run an offense, but to facilitate the talent that he has, and to utilize that talent in unique ways. And I don't think he's saying that, hey, Colston Loveland is now Sam Laporta or DeAndre Swift is Jahmyr Gibbs, but we still need to use that same sort of imagination with regards to the particular skill set of the guys that we have, especially against this Brian Flores defense. But what I am the most excited about is just to watch things operate in time. Because I saw those flashes from Romo Dunze where he's making catches and adjusting to the ball super late. He's stopping and coming back to balls where it was clear, Caleb is not a bad passer of the football. The timing was just so horrible last season that we didn't get to see what it could be. So, I'm not going to pick them to win this game, but I just want to see growth in that aspect where if he's wrong, if he's off target, I just want him to be on time.
And I want to push back on you just a little bit on that, because
Fight.
We're mad.
I think Brian Flores is going to do exactly the opposite of that. Obviously, he wants to disrupt his timing as much as possible. He wants to confuse Caleb Williams with the different pressure that he's going to bring against him. He's going to want to disrupt the timing of all these receivers' routes, the secondary that he deploys. If they are not rushing, if he's not sending everybody, he is mixing coverages and he's doing half field coverages for different things.
Right.
And he is going to want to confuse and disrupt everybody's timing, because he knows that is the number one thing, to your point, Patrick, that Caleb Williams has had to work on. And plus that pre-snap and post-snap rhythm and routine that he has to get into. Brian Flores is custom built to try to destroy everything that you were stressed out over in training camp. And I think Ben Johnson put more stress on Caleb in training camp, not just because it's a developmental process, because this is your first opponent. And I think like that is really what we're going to see. And on the opposite side, Greg, like JJ McCarthy's been going against this defense in training camp every single day with live periods built in where they're calling it against each other as if they would in a game, to try to say, okay, Dennis Allen's going to really bring it. Like I expect Dennis Allen to design the heck out of some pressure and try to fluster JJ McCarthy as much as possible. But how can we slow this down for both quarterbacks early?
Can we have a Dennis Allen sense? Because that doesn't really roll off the tongue. But like Dennis
Allen
Allen's
awakening?
revenge.
I don't know.
You know, he's finally.
Yeah, it's a revenge against everybody.
He's finally like, free of being the most hated man in New Orleans, unfortunately, and just gets to do what he does best. This is a fascinating team to watch in general.
I also don't really know how we are doing this year, but this is my survivor pick. Is
Oh,
there like some sort of a fanfare that we do?
for it.
Yeah.
The Bears are the survivor pick, or the Vikings?
No, the Vikings, because of their hot start last season. I know it's a new quarterback, but the Vikings are my survivor pick this season. Let's send it, Kevin O'Connell, Brian Flores. Let's do it.
A little suspicious here. Jourdan.
I love picks.
Pretends she doesn't know anything. Like, how do picks work? I don't never understood how they work. It's like, what's a survivor? It's like she made an allusion to maybe just trying to crash out right away, and she takes a team that's
in week one,
barely favored
game like this
on the
week
road.
One.
That said, I really like the Vikings.
I love danger.
So I'm kind of talking out of both sides of my mouth. They are one of the teams, though, I think that you just have like the most things to watch. And I know we gotta move forward.
Bears are winning this game.
But like they have a lot of question marks. JJ McCarthy, Christian Darrisaw coming off of a big injury. They have a rookie first-round pick starting Donovan Jackson. The interior of their offensive line is transplanted from Indianapolis. Just a lot of things to watch. A lot of new things with the Vikings. You never know.
I just don't want to face Ben Johnson when he's got 3 months to prepare for you. It's just that.
Jourdan's gonna win this thing. We know she is.
Find out on Monday.
Let's ride, baby.
And once you do win, then we can all play as a team.
There we go.
We all lost by week 3, so we played as a team for a while.
We have the Ben Johnson list, much to the chagrin of everybody asking Dan Campbell questions. Detroit Lions at the Green Bay Packers, as the Lions trying to win 4 in a row in Lambeau for the first time in franchise history. The Packers are giving up 2.5 points at home. The over-under 48.5. Jim, Tony, and Tracy on the call, Jourdan. What happens?
I'm curious if Micah Parsons is going to play. I mean, latest updates as of show taping is he's doing everything he can to get on the field because of this back injury that's been widely reported on. I mean, I think he plays. I think this is an elaborate smokescreen if I ever saw one.
Well, I don't know how much of a smokescreen it is. I mean, I've spoken to someone who says it's a legit issue. However,
you're not getting an injection as a.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just saying they know whether he's going to play or not.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm saying that part of it's a smokescreen.
I could see him in known passing downs, being out there on the field. He's going to get on the field. They're not going to make this type of big swing and all of a sudden sit in week 1 against this team, especially when Aiden Hutchinson can steal all the glory.
I worry about that though. Like
if
he's not ready to play, they should be thinking a little long game. He hasn't practiced getting. I'm like. I don't know. I'm worried about winning the Super Bowl if I'm the Packers.
You could trade for Micah Parsons for December and January and February, not for.
There's no way he's not. There's no way they're sitting him.
That's just like not how football works.
I would be so stunned if they're like, okay, we're making this trade. Okay, we're going to sit him for a week because.
If it weren't in Green Bay, I think that they might think about it, but it's in Green Bay, and I think they're going to.
It's against Detroit.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think they're going to get out there. They're going to spot him when they need to spot him. They're going to put, run fronts up there on first downs because, Detroit's still coming out 2 tight, 3 tight, doing stuff like that on their early downs. Hell, they do it on 3rd and 15. They go out, 2 tights and 3 tights. But I think Micah Parsons plays. I think he is impactful. He's got Rashawn Gary on the other side. Like let's not forget about this. This might end up being the best pass rushing tandem in the NFL.
And it's maybe more of a mismatch than previous years where you look at this Detroit offensive line. Obviously, someone's got to go against Penei Sewell. But on the other side, Taylor Decker's getting a little older. There's new guys on the interior where they'll bring Parsons on the stunts and everything. And I kind of flip that the other side, too. I'm curious, Dan Campbell was really talking up DJ Reader, who's a name that we probably haven't mentioned on this show all offseason. He's healthy again, and he's a player in the middle of their defensive line. They expect to really be a difference maker, but they kind of need him to be because, it's him and it's a rookie. Tyleik Williams,
Because
who's
your
a
guy is
projection,
hurt.
and it's Marcus Davenport. I know we got Hutchinson, but you can't ask the Browns. You can't just build an entire defense off one pass rusher. So that versus a kind of new Packers offensive line, I'm interested in too.
Yeah, an offensive line that was one of the most cohesive over the course of last season, if not the most, if I recall correctly. And so you make changes there. You get to see the way because Josh Jacobs gets bubble wrapped in the preseason.
Yeah.
and kind of
So
unleashed
awesome.
on the opposition once things get going. Where I think it's 4 in a row to me.
It's 6 out of 7 overall. It's kind of crazy that they own the Packers.
But they've just been so good. They're beating everybody.
No, but they're not beating everyone 6 out of 7. You know what I mean? It all. I went back to go look to see where this started, and it was actually a Week 18 game where they rested Aaron Rodgers and then Jordan Love came in. But if you do think of that big Week 18 game that they knocked the Packers out of the playoffs, a lot of their best moments last year, I think their 2 wins against the Packers were the best moments that they had. This has been a one-sided coaching and organizational rivalry.
Well,
I like
this was like
I like the Lions.
They
They're-
could get
especially
interceptions and stuff
as
like
underdogs. This is
Yeah.
another one where I feel spread some of these games out, NFL. This game's amazing. It's a big spot also for Tony Romo, who needs another bounce back season after a couple down years. And this is an NFC game, so it's different teams. I feel like that helps him. He is bored of announcing the Chiefs.
I was going to say, you got him a game he's not going to fall asleep during. But I feel like this is probably, to your guys' point, this is probably why Matt LaFleur looked so stressed out this week, speaking to the media to open the week. He looks like Week 8 Matt LaFleur to me.
I got to tell you, though, Jourdan, I am so interested in seeing those Packers wide receivers.
Yes.
They have got speed to burn. They're set up a lot like the Lions in that regard. Out wide, and if Jordan Love is healthy, man, we talked about it. That guy, we're talking about Quarterback Island show. There's very few guys as talented throwing the ball, especially deep, than that guy right there, number 10.
Well, I really think Matt LaFleur especially has kind of been itching to get into his bag on gadget players too. And I'm not calling Matthew Golden a gadget player, but I just know they want to use him in so many different types of ways. And I've been saying this since they drafted him. I think he's going to be the volume number 1 receiver on this team. They're going to need him. They're going to need him to show up and be explosive and do all kinds of things with their motions and their shifts and their formation changes and moving gaps on the defense. They're going to need all of it. And I cannot wait to see what their plan is for him.
Green Bay opens with Detroit, and then they've got the Commanders the next week.
That's brutal. And
A Thursday night game.
think about
That's why I'm
LaFleur.
not going to be here Wednesday, by the way.
Okay. We'll accept that. We'll accept that. No Jaden Reed, by the way, so he's not going to be
Yeah.
able to unleash
Yeah.
the full arsenal, at least not at practice on Wednesday, and there's not a lot of optimism that he will play. But in general, they are healthier. And before we take it to break, it's just going to be the first time we get to see our guy Isaac Tesla in the regular season.
There you
But watch out for Khalif Raymond. People in Detroit are kind of well, Khalif Raymond's a starter, and they kind of love Khalif Raymond, and that's part of the reason, too, that they got rid of Tim Patrick. After one full segment before the break, I'm ready to call it. This is the best preview show in the business.
Here we go.
Let's take a break. We'll be back in a few. Back on NFL Daily. We are currently on pace for about a 2-hour and 30-minute show, and you know what? The Patrick Angel on my left shoulder is telling me, it's good stuff. Stop worrying about the time, Greg.
Yes,
Don't worry about it.
that's me. I'm saying that in Greg's imagination.
Especially when we got, Colts Dolphins next, the game you're the most excited about.
The most excited about 2 AFC powerhouses. No, but seriously, Mike McDaniel's Miami Dolphins at the Indianapolis Colts in Lucas Oil Stadium. The Colts favored by 1.5 points. The over-under is 46.5. Andrew Catalan and our dear friend Charles Davis on the call. It is dimes time. Clearly, the bookmakers love dimes, Greg. That's why they've got them favored by 1.5 points.
Not a lot of respect for Miami, but whatever. 2 teams that were pretty average. So that's that last year. Going into this year, I like the Dolphins in this game in general, and I thought it was interesting, that Rasul Douglas arrives with the Dolphins just he's an immediate starter, and
That's where they are.
Yeah.
that's not a great sign. And this is a mismatch. The Colts roster, it really isn't we're so focused on the quarterbacks that you kind of forget the rest of the roster has a lot to like. I think the pass catcher.
I'm with you.
I think the matchup of Tyler Warren versus whether it's Douglas or whether it's this undrafted rookie they have. I think Jason Marshall in the nickel or if it's Minko. That's a really fascinating one. Ultimately, if Daniel Jones and Steichen can get him the ball, like there are a lot of mismatches here for that receiving group to pick up.
Oh, well, I want to flip it. I mean, Lou Anarumo, you talk about a revenge tour, right? Now he's got so many studs on that defense. I mean, look at that defensive front. They got defensive ends that they can roll in. I think Leatu Latu is going to blow up this season. And the Miami Dolphins, we can talk about all their issues in the secondary. Their offensive line, they got problems. They got issues. I mean, Tua, you talk about being on time, being quick with the ball. He's really going to have to be quick with the ball this year. The whole stuff with Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, I think a lot of people aren't expecting much out of the Dolphins. We're hearing about some chaos going on behind the scenes. I just think I like Indiana this year.
Interesting. You're the first person to say
I
that.
won't say this year in this game, but their defense is going to keep them in position because that AFC South is going to be jumbled up a little bit.
I like the Colts in this game because, as much as I believe in Anthony Weaver and as much as I think that when this Miami Dolphins ship is rolling at high speed, like it's really, really hard to stop. But at the same time, I think we're going to see a really almost mechanized version of the Shane Steichen offense. See player, throw ball to player, do what I tell you in the headset kind of situation with Daniel Jones. And I think Shane Steichen really wants to remind the world that he can call a game, that he's a good play caller, that he really wants to deploy the tight ends, that he really wants to use Tyler Warren as this unicorn mismatch player. And he just needs a quarterback to basically get the ball from the center and behind the line of scrimmage.
Bring back Gardner Minshew.
Past the line of scrimmage. And I think, and also use him a little in the run game. And I think, so we'll see this mechanized version that I'm sure he hopes will expand over time, but this mechanized version of what Shane Steichen really wants to do at quarterback and with his offense.
And the problem with that is when you have this group of pass catchers, especially with a guy like the skill set of Alec Pierce, who's one of the best deep ball getters in the history of the NFL. He's a small sample size there, but it's also a small sample size of Daniel Jones completions that are over 25 yards in the air, which in his career is 8. It's a substantial.
Not much.
It's not much. But I think you utilize the talent, and it's very difficult to say, hey, go out there and just don't make mistakes, because that's the kind of collar that gets put on people like Jared Goff. But Jared Goff goes out there and makes plays.
Yeah.
And it's just been a very long time, because I know Daniel Jones had the fumble issues. He had 18 in his rookie year, and it was a thing. And then he went into safety mode, and he was very protective, not turn the ball over. But the offense also did nothing. And so I think you have to unleash dimes to make it watchable. I don't want to watch a paint by numbers version of Daniel Jones, because I think that
guy's gone though. He just stopped playing.
I just think that you got to run him then. You got to run him a little bit.
They say he was reborn in Minneapolis. They say he got there. We'll see.
I'll need to see it. I feel all the bad vibes out of Miami. I understand that, but there's been bad vibes in Miami for a while.
This is the bad vibe off. Both these teams. This is such a big week one. I think week one is so big for teams coming off bad seasons or facing a lot of questions, because it just lets everyone breathe a little, gives you a chance, and the winner of this game is going to feel so much better about themselves. And I still do have
the loser will feel so much worse.
Right. I still have some of the Mike McDaniel September magic. It's kind of a thing in my brain. And I have this image of Tyreek and Jalen Waddle on a fast track. I mean, that's an indoor team if I've ever seen one. Everyone's saying they can't go out into the weather. Well, how about let's go to Lucas Oil Stadium?
Which is why
let's go Dolphins. I don't know why.
Which is why they are my survivor pick for week one.
There
is the Miami Dolphins. Gregg's reaction makes me feel even better about it.
I mean, I'm picking them, but you guys, why are you taking such big risks?
Because it's all a risk. I took a small risk last year and lost in week one. So why not?
All right.
Keep it rolling.
I like to feel alive.
Wait for you guys to join me, and we're going to do it as a team. Let's go to a game with the biggest question in the entire NFL, the most consequential one to me. The Houston Texans, across the street from us at the Los Angeles Rams, who are giving up 2.5 points. The over-under is 44.5. The GOAT, Kevin Harlan and Trent Green on the call. Steve, of course, the biggest question to me is, how healthy is Matthew Stafford really? Are we going to find out, Steve, on Sunday?
We are, but my bigger question is, how healthy might CJ Stroud be after this game? The Texans' offensive line is a significant issue, And the Rams' defensive front is no joke, and they can roll guys through. They've got depth. I think Chris Shula is a hell of a defensive coordinator the way he showed up last year. But that young talent against an offensive line, we don't know the names of these guys, right? They gave up a lot. They've got to figure some stuff out. Yeah, their passing game coordinator and offense came from the Rams, and people can say we know what they're going to do. I just think it's a talent issue up front for the Texans. And we also know their receiving core is still banged up, a little bit uncertain. So I think the Rams are going to get after Houston. I don't think it's going to be a blowout type of game, but we can ask all the questions you want about Matthew Stafford. C.J. Stroud's going to be under some heat.
Well, Texans defense is going to get after Matthew Stafford.
Yes, they will.
Who's got, has been dealing with the back issue, the aggravated disc all season. I think to your point about C.J. Stroud and Nick Caley, the offensive coordinator, I think everyone thinks that this is going to be like a Sean McVay resembling offense and offensive scheme, and I don't really think it will be that much. I think it's going to be more Patriots, and I think that in turn kind of protects C.J. Stroud a little bit because it's a lot of quick throws. It's a lot of timing play. It's just things that can sort of mitigate the teeth of a pass rush. But your Chris Shula point is spot on because I actually expect him. They were doing some stuff at the end of the season with 5 rushers. They were mixing their fronts a lot. They were going even, odd, even. They were really doing a little Jesse Minter stuff too, a little Mike McDonald stuff that they were copying. I think they're out of the gate doing that this year. And with Byron Young potentially even taking on that cheetah package role with Michael Hoyt being gone, moving from one of the edges over to that extra rusher role.
Well, then they just got to show up like they did against the actual Jesse Minter and the Texans in the playoffs last year. Not that it was like offense first, but they certainly made it work. I find it fascinating that Cam Robinson was signed for $12 or $13 million. He's on the bench for them, and I think that's a good sign that they feel really good about their second-round pick, Arante Ursary. So that's what training camp and preseason's for, is to kind of find players that you believed in even a little more than you expected. They're talking up that they're going to be greater than the sum of their parts. The part I'm worried about is just a C.J. Stroud in a one-dimensional offense against this team concerns me, and I guess I'm assuming it's one-dimensional with Nick Chubb being the running back until proven otherwise. I want them to prove me wrong, but Nick Chubb and like Woody Marks, like a day 3 pick, or maybe it's Damian Pierce, but I don't know.
Well, there was so much volume for Joe Mixon in, again, the offense that was ill-fated from start to finish last year, which is why there's a complete change. But I do think I saw enough burst in the preseason. Not to say Chubb? Not to say, this is 2015's Nick Chubb.
Right.
Like, no, that's not clearly not what's there. But there's enough left of Nick Chubb to still be a better than replacement, a much better than replacement level running back to me in an offense where this is clearly going to be the best quarterback that has ever handed the ball to Nick Chubb. Like it's not even close.
A great point.
Big gap
to me. Like, it's significant. Gap there.
Baker Mayfield slander there. I thought you guys were Team Baker.
Actually, you prefer to extrapolate it as such. We were not making that.
I mean, that was in the statement. He was one of the quarterbacks that handed it off to him.
The version of Baker that was clearly wounded, and the Browns ran him out there.
Get him, Patrick. Don't let Gregg do
essentially, which got Odell's career ended because he threw them that woeful pass because he didn't have an arm at the time. Either way, it's. I have hope for that aspect of the Texans offense, but as good as the Rams are, it's all number 9. Until I see Matthew Stafford playing as Matthew Stafford, I'm going to be very concerned about this team that has a super good defense, but a high variance of outcomes depending on Stafford.
Yeah, getting through 18 weeks is going to be the challenge.
Hardest game for me to pick. It's 2.5 points. The Rams are favored, which is basically saying that you get 2 or 2.5 as the home team. These two teams are very even. I could see it going anyway.
Yeah.
I like Houston.
This is the once in a what? How often is this game in Los Angeles? 8 years. If they did it, game that divides my household. My daughter Ellis, who I love dearly, my firstborn, and Walker, who's the bigger football fan, but not by that much. He's a Texans fan, so it doesn't happen often. But there will be a lot of tension in the household.
Yes,
all week.
I can't wait for people to see what Devontae Adams has been doing in this offense. I mean, it's been so fun because I think people are still somehow I'm watching how low he's falling in fantasy drafts and stuff. He's coming off the line of scrimmage so fast. They're going to use him all over the field. It's pick your poison in terms of whether you want to defend, bracket him,
grand last year,
or
man.
bracket Puka Nacua, who's even bigger and looks more physical than he did. They're deep at receiver. And this is going to be fun. If Matthew Stafford can stay upright, and Alec Jackson, by the way, who missed most of camp because he's managing blood clots, still managing what will be an ongoing situation, but is expected to play in week 1. That is huge. He's been in the walkthroughs. That's huge. So he's missed the physicality of camp, but he hasn't missed the installs. And I think that's really, really important because as Matthew Stafford goes and stays upright, this Rams team will go.
Glad you pointed that out because this really might be the best top receivers versus top cornerbacks matchup in the entire
I'm
NFL.
so excited.
In the entire NFL season.
Yeah.
Because to me, it is the Texans, and I don't know if there's a better, 1-2, maybe in Cincinnati, but they're not on the schedule for Houston. This is it. This is the matchup.
And that's why they get Kevin Harlan and Trent Green on this call. Let's go to another exciting matchup. The division champion, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, on the road at a team that beat them twice last year, the Atlanta Falcons, at home. Over under 47.5. Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma on the call, Jourdan. We have seen this explosive Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. We've seen an explosive Falcons. These teams played calculator games last year. How does this one go?
Points, and more points. But don't forget that Tristan Wirfs is out for the Bucs, still has been for a while. And Atlanta, because they made such a significant trade up to double up on the outsides because they've been missing that outside pass rush for so many years in a row at this point.
It's about 2006.
They need to prove a point in a big way, and I think they're going to try to bring the heat. This is going to be really exciting. This is a show your work game to me because you've got Josh Grizzard, the new OC, with Baker, who basically Baker was like, I want this guy to be my OC. I've lost 2 in a row now. And then you've got these receivers who are super talented, and you've got Bucky, who is just so fun.
Love him.
And they need to show their work, what they did in the offseason. On the other side, Atlanta really needed to juice up this defense, especially that outside rush. They need to show their work this game as well.
What's Grizzard's real name?
I just said it, Josh
No,
Grizzard. King Grizzard.
King Grizzard, the Lizard King.
No, King Grizzard. Crink. Oh my God. King Grizzard.
Yeah, I thought you have to say that every time. We don't even say his actual name on the show.
King Grizzard from Lizard Lick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or the Lizard King.
King Grizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I love it. I said, Baker picking his OC too. That worked well with Freddie Kitchens, didn't it?
Oh, no.
Hopefully this works out a little bit better. I love this game because Atlanta wins the battles and the Buccaneers win the war. Kirk Cousins isn't walking.
That was really
through the door.
poetic, Steve.
Look, Kirk Cousins in 5 games against the Buccaneers has 14 touchdowns and 2 picks and 5 million yards. He's not playing. So Michael Penix, this is a guy who's going to pat the ball a little bit. They're going to try and do the deep shots. We're hearing about 9 to 5. Penix to Drake London. The jersey numbers all over the place. They got Bijan Robinson. This to me is a big game for Atlanta. They're psyched up for it because Tampa Bay to me is now we talk about teams as culture. They're a culture team. They expect to win going into games. Atlanta, with all of its talent, is trying to figure out how to win. You talk about young edge rushers. They're starting 2 rookies in their secondary.
Mm-hmm.
2, they love this kid Bowman, their strong safety. They love him. So I'm interested to see how the front and the back's going to work because you know me with the Falcons. Caden Ellis, their inside linebacker, is the most underrated player in the NFL. I think he's a superstar that nobody talks about. But I just want to see how those 2 sides work because this offense is going to put points on the board. Losing their right tackle hurts because he's a blindside tackle for Penix. That's going to be something they got to work through. But I think they'll be able to scheme some stuff up to kind of protect him. Plus, Penix is a far more athletic player. People give him credit for. If he's got to move, he can go.
Right. I'm much more
Love a
worried.
left-handed quarterback, by the way. Just saying.
We need more. If you got a kid that can be ambidextrous or out there, or just want to grow them up to I think the world just needs more lefty quarterbacks. There's a need for it. I'm more worried about that Falcons offensive line without their right tackle and his backup than I am even losing Tristan Wirfs because the rest of the line can make up for it for Tampa, even if it's an easier matchup for them. I mean, we go through the whole offseason. It's we got to improve the pass rush. We got to improve the pass rush. I know they're going to play, but ultimately, the Falcons, after, we got to improve the pass, they're going to start Leonard Floyd and Arnold Ebiketie. So, Are
Yeah,
they going to be
on
much-
first down?
Sure, but
Okay,
like,
First down.
yeah, I was
That's a
gonna
run.
say-
That's
like
a
Jalen
run.
Walker might not be
That's
ready
a-
to really.
And don't
No, that's a run
don't
front.
you discount Leonard Floyd against the run? Come
mean,
on now,
exactly.
that dude still gets.
I'm just
after
saying,
it.
like, I don't know if they took enough steps for me. By the way, speaking of that offensive line, Luke Gedeke got a big time
Yeah.
contract on Wednesday morning. A great
Is it Gedeke or
development.
Gadecki? I've heard it pronounced.
I think the local guys say Gedeke, so
Okay.
that's what I'm
All
going
right.
to go with. But I don't know if that's right. A good development story. He was thought of as a total bust and was at left guard and then moved to a tougher position on paper and has turned into a huge development story. I did an article last week, the top 25 free agents of 2026. There were 4 Buccaneers on there. Yeah, and a lot of them, it shows how good they are at like developing players you hadn't heard of. Zion McCollum, Kate Otten, who I think is maybe
my
the,
guy.
They're
maybe
gonna
the
pay
most
him.
underrated tight end.
Yep.
And then Mike Evans, who has been on that top 101 list
Yeah.
like over and over. But they get one of them done.
They're gonna
before
pay.
the
They're
season
gonna
with
pay
Gedeke.
Kate Otten. By the way,
They
Kate
better.
Otten's been out for a little while training camp, but he's practicing, so he should be a go this week.
Big pickup. I like the Bucks this one.
Yeah, it's excited to see. And I know James Pierce Jr. as well as Jalen Walker. It's you're not expecting them to do everything in week one. And I'll say, Steve, to the Kirk Cousins of it all, right? He did light up those games against the Bucs, but also they scored 20 points a game in the games that Kirk Cousins started, and 29.7%
Where the
of those points that they scored with Kirk Cousins came against the Tampa Bay
Buccaneers. that was his team. That's what I'm saying. He's not walking through that door.
Yeah.
So Michael Penix better show up.
But it's for the best because they did score 32 points per game once Michael Penix Jr. started.
Wow.
And they lost.
Wow. That's
They lost. They put 38 on the Panthers and gave up 44.
All right, next game is going to be out west. The San Francisco 49ers on the road in the division to take on the Seattle Seahawks, giving up 2.5 points. The over-under is 44.5. Joe Davis and G-Reg as we get to see Sam Darnold starting with another team. He's going to prove you wrong, Greg.
Is he? I mean, they're sticking him at 405. The disrespect for
Two
Yeah,
West Coast teams,
a team
bro.
that basically wakes up and gets to the NFC Championship game as long as they're healthy, and the 49ers and the Seahawks are. No, I just mean they're not getting the 425. There's like
Gotcha.
there's 2 national
That's
games,
true.
and
They
they're
get
just
the cross.
they're just shuffled over to the side. And this is a really one-sided rivalry, but I don't put much into it because Mike McDonald's only been there for a little bit. That said, the 49ers offense mostly had good days last year, even in a year that wasn't good against Mike McDonald. So he has, Kyle Shanahan, some history. The Seahawks defense is better, but they have to feel better that they're getting 2 really important pieces back on offense. Dominic Pooney, their guard, who they thought
Big.
might miss some regular season time, has been out there practicing. And then Juwan Jennings is back at practice after a quietly unsuccessful, hold in
Yeah,
/
quote
injury.
unquote. And if you hear Kyle Shanahan's tone of voice when he talks about it, the calf injury. Calves, they can be
Right.
fickle.
He didn't get any more money in the end, but I don't care. Like that's a solid 1-2,
Yeah.
Jennings and Pearsall, as long as you have Kittle and McCaffrey healthy, which they do.
And they do. And I think a lot of the passing game is going to go through those guys. I think that they're going to, especially because they traded for Brian Robinson Jr., I think they're going to take a little of the run workload off of Christian McCaffrey and deploy him a lot more as a mismatch in the passing game. They're obviously going to put a lot of that through George Kittle as well, another mismatch. And even though Juwan Jennings is back, which makes you feel better about their depth overall, I got to tell you guys, this is the Ricky Pearsall show. This is going to be the Ricky Pearsall show. And you know what you can really tell? I always follow the trend of the beat writers because they are always the ones who are like, let's watch every single practice before we write the hype piece about this guy. This week, all the hype pieces came out. A set of lovely features about Ricky Pearsall across the board, and they've got the local people believing in him.
And that's a great beat crew up there. By
Yeah,
the way.
they're honest. Yeah.
I look. Christian McCaffrey just changes everything for the 49ers.
Yeah.
I mean, him being healthy, if he's in there, getting Brian Robinson, they're going to use him like they use a lot of their other running backs. Well, he'll probably be the third quarter guy, right? McCaffrey's going to wear him out. Then you're going to bang him, get a lead for Brock and those guys, and McCaffrey to close things out in the fourth quarter. I do like Seattle to be good this year. I don't like this matchup.
Me too.
I think they're going to be a good team this year. I think their offensive line is better. Their run game, they've got, Zach Charbonnet looks different. I think he's going to end up being the guy more so than Kenneth Walker, who just can't stay healthy. But I think overall, they're much more balanced. I think they're going to be a good team, but not in this game. I like San Francisco.
I don't know. I have week 1 is funky. I sometimes
It's the ultimate non-truth.
Right. It's a week where I often take teams that even though I predict them to have a worse season, I just have them winning this game. This is like a home game. I think both teams want to run and both teams will be able to run, but I just trust the Seahawks defense. We do a show together, Patrick.
We do.
Going on, I think 6 or 7 years now, Game Day View, where we pick all the games, and everyone should check it out on NFL Network on Friday. So we have to make picks for every game. I picked the Seahawks in this game. I don't feel great about it, but you had to pick one or two.
You got to pick somebody. There's so many things to be up against. Brock Purdy 5-1 in his career against the Seahawks. He was actually a better quarterback on the road last year than he was at home. A lot of that's the schedule. I don't think Brock Purdy hates Santa Clara or something. But it's a healthier team with a more clear vision of what they want to do. And yeah, Christian McCaffrey changes everything, makes everything better, like winning.
But I think this to Gregg's point too, that this defense, I know this defense is going to be good. I have no doubts. I have no questions. I know this defense is going to be good. They finished, even in top 5 points per drive, even through the years, they were still improving, which you could see with the Mike McDonald system. You take a couple weeks, a couple months to really get to where you need to be. I am actually more excited than I think most about what this Clint Kubiak, Gray Zabel, Sam Darnold, Cooper Kupp, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Robbie Outs. And Robbie Outs,
as a
the
number
fullback.
2 is a problem.
I'm so excited to see what these guys do. And I would pick them because Clint Kubiak came out swinging last year, too, before everything went sideways. I mean, he put up near 90 points in the first 2 games, right? So I do think that this Seahawks offense is going to surprise people. I really think that.
It's one of those things where we have to figure out how much Dennis Allen was a factor in our evaluation of someone.
Yeah, that was a factor.
And Derek Carr.
Dang.
We got
Carr,
hurt, man.
Carr taking shots. No, he took plenty from the studio, unfortunately.
Let's go to the revenge game.
Yes.
Week 1, 2025. The Pittsburgh Steelers at the New York Jets, who are getting 3 points. The over-under, that's at home, by the way, 47.5. Ian Eagle and J.J. Watt on the call as Aaron Rodgers is back in New Jersey, Steve. Is he going to play super well and make them regret ever crossing him?
Well, we'll see what Aaron Glenn has to say about that.
Oh.
That's been gone. So I'm not going to answer questions about guys that's not here and what I saw. Right now I'm looking at what our guys can do. So just like I said, I'm not going to sit there and answer questions on what I saw back then that's not relevant to right now.
And street lingo is like, we got something for that, for him coming back. But look, this could be a very fun game. I do not like the Jets losing Elijah Vera Tucker to that injury. I think this is a team that wanted to run the ball. Pittsburgh's going to be a tough team to run the ball against, but he is a really important part of that offense. It's going to be an RPO-driven type of offense with Justin Fields playing quarterback. I think that's a big blow for the Jets in this game, which is why I do like Aaron Rodgers coming back and getting some.
I've been, on the Jets all off season. It just feels like I was going to be on the Jets this week, and then you wake up to that Vera Tucker news. He was set to be a free agent. He still is. That he could miss the season, and it just gives you just a bad vibe about oh man, is this the same old Jets? I do like that on both sides. They're like, oh no, this couldn't possibly mean anything extra to us. It's just another game. Aaron Rodgers didn't answer anything on Wednesday when he was asked about it. Does it mean a little more? He's like, it's week 1. And do you keep in touch with anyone there? I'm not going to comment on that. And Aaron Glenn saying it's nothing. And then earlier in the week, it is fascinating to me that Mike Tomlin admitted, it was a mutual decision because he was on the record saying he wanted Justin Fields back, either him or
Russ. They wanted him back.
And it is fascinating to think about. The reason he's not back is that the Jets were willing to pay Justin Fields more money than either team was willing to pay Aaron Rodgers. And they can say whatever they want. Whoever wins this game, that is absolutely going to be the topic in the locker room after the game of what either Aaron stuck it to his old team or Aaron Glenn, got to shut up everyone after kicking Rodgers out of the building.
He was their 3rd or 4th choice. I mean, if you're going to either combine the 2 guys that they had last year into one choice A And then they went after Stafford a little bit, choice B, and then they end up with Rodgers. And it's so interesting to me. I do like this Steelers team because, yes, I think that the Jets offense is going to go real heavy personnel. They're going to try to move that defensive line not only backwards but side to side in heavy personnels with heavy run concepts that are going to be tough to defend. And that is where our old friend Jalen Ramsey comes in.
That's where he comes in.
As one of the guys who is still, in my opinion, one of the best tackling corners in the entire league, one of the best tacklers overall in the entire league, and he's going to be playing either that slot role closer to the box in run support against a run-heavy Jets team that really wants to pop off these two guys, Breece Hall and Braylon Allen, getting a lot of buzz in camp with the threat of a running quarterback. This is why you bring a guy like Jalen Ramsey into this defense, to give it that edge, to give it that teeth in scheme diverse ways.
And not just the threat of a quarterback who can run, because the difference, right, from rookie year Breece Hall, and I know that there was an injury, but we saw that burst when he came back.
Yeah.
There's no threat of Aaron Rodgers running the football. There's absolutely no threat. And to go from that to Justin Fields, it's significant, despite the fact that Justin Fields had a better completion percentage than Aaron Rodgers last year. He had a better passer rating than Aaron Rodgers last year, and his pass yards per attempt were better than Aaron Rodgers last year. And I would make the case that the Steelers' offense was not conducive to any of those things. And so now he goes to a new team with a new offensive vision, and I have to be convinced to believe that this Arthur Smith Aaron Rodgers union is going to work and be successful, and it's going to take weeks of football to convince me of that. I'm not going to say it in week one.
I agree, but Rodgers has more to work with in terms of that tight end room. Is dynamic, and the Jets have Garrett Wilson and just a whole lot of question marks, including their tight end room, and that worries me.
To Patrick's point, though, I thought it was very interesting that Mike Tomlin said when it comes to Justin Fields, he's stronger. He's physically stronger than what anyone gives him credit for. He's talking about how tough physically a guy. He's a little worried. He's planting that, and his guy's like, when you can't just tackle Justin Fields, you have to bring a hat on him. Like, they're detailed, knowing that he is a legitimate threat, which goes to show you the respect that head coach has for him.
How special is the defense, though? When Mike Tomlin said that he thinks they could be historic, for some reason, I was just like, oh, I guess I was wrong to doubt the Steelers. They're going to win 12 games. He's feeling himself. Cam Hayward is playing in this game, by the way.
Of course he is.
Yeah, of course he is.
They're going to have to be, in my opinion. Let's go to the Carolina Panthers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Chris Myers and Mark Schlereth on the call, where the Jags giving up 3 points to the Panthers with an over-under of 46.5. We get a chance to see Travis Hunter for the first time in his NFL career, Steve.
Yeah, this is the week one thing right here. Like, okay, this is the ultimate toss-up game. We'll see, what Liam Cohen has. The two guys who Baker Mayfield got jobs for. He's the
oh my God, that's right.
That's what I'm saying. The two guys who Baker Mayfield got head coaching jobs going up against one another right here. I'm interested because Jacksonville's got, on paper, they've got a lot of talent, especially defense. I love their guys on the defensive front. No one talks about Hines Allen, especially Trayvon Walker. I mean, these are double-digit sack guys, but these are hollow stats because they're not winning ball games. To see if they're going to be able to get after Bryce Young. I think Carolina is improved. I think Jacksonville on paper is a better team. And yes, we get to see Travis Hunter. He's going to play mainly wide receiver, spot him at corner. We'll see. I do like Jacksonville in this game at home. But again, it's a week one non-truth teller.
Yeah, we do our pick show every Friday. And you're saying, like, you think it's as coin flippy a game as there is.
Yeah.
I really like the Jaguars. And this is what I'm looking at here. I even was thinking about, because the survivor picks are tricky. But then I'm like, am I believing my own hype? It's not actually, they haven't actually proven anything. I think the Jaguars could be a sneaky playoff team.
I agree.
I am believing my own hype when it comes to Hunter, though. I do think that they've been playing a little okey doke, like keeping him a little under wraps, all the plans for him. And week one, we get some like Odell Beckham once he gets back from the hamstring injury as a rookie, or RG3 in week one, where suddenly like Kyle Shanahan just like unveiled it. And I don't know what exactly Travis Hunter could do, like maybe parachutes in at halftime or whatever, like to play on. But I don't know what exactly they would do, but I just think we're getting full Hunter week 1 in a way that we haven't really understood.
Well, it's a good pick, Greg, because Carolina's defense is so untrustworthy. We know this, even with Derek Brown being healthy and being back and pairing Bobby Brown, which is his prerogative, next to him up front.
There we go.
Thank you. 33
Well
years
done.
old, guys, still did it. And then J.C. Horn having, kind of stacking up a relatively healthy season that he had last season.
A stacking of dollars.
Yeah, and massive payday this offseason. It's still such an untrustworthy defense. I also want to point out kind of a sneaky but really important injury that happened, kind of went under the radar with the Panthers this last week. Jalen Coker is going to miss 4 to 6 weeks at least. He suffered a quad injury in practice right after they traded Adam Thielen to the Vikings.
Whoop.
That's a thin receivers room without him. They're going to rely, I think, a little bit on the tight ends in the short term, but he was supposed to be like their slot guy. He had a fan base with a really cool name as well.
What, the Cokeheads?
The Cokeheads.
Yeah,
I'm glad you said it, Greg. I didn't know.
Well,
what
he's
to say.
the
Claymates.
he's the winner of the fan base name. He can.
His replacement is one of Patrick's sneaky favorite players, I feel like, of the last 5 or 6 years, Hunter Renfrow. They're calling him up from the practice squad right into the starting lineup.
He also has been recovering from a pretty serious illness, though. I don't know how much he's going to play right away.
But they said he's starting out the slot receiver now that Coker's gone.
But it shows like how fickle depth can be. Where you can go from being very confident in a unit to the extent that you're trading Adam Thielen and he's taking a pay cut to play for the Vikings to now it's like, oh, well, okay, Hunter Renfrow.
Step on up. We cut you a week ago.
Do you know what's kind of funny, though? Joe Person, my colleague at The Athletic, reported this. So Hunter Renfrow, they cut him, and then they tried to, and they cut him, and he had like the vet minimum payout for the time spent there. And then they tried to re-sign him after all of this happened. He negotiated like a significant pay bump
There it is.
to come back because of course he did. Like because they're like, well,
Leverage
we
is a
know
wonderful
you,
thing.
we know
Yeah.
you want me.
Yesterday's price
That's amazing.
is not today's price.
This is a matchup, by the way, at least in terms of the head coaches and the coordinators that we did see last year, because Liam Cohen, as the coordinator for the Bucs, put on about 1,000 total yards on the Panthers and a 0 effort.
everybody
Who
did.
didn't?
I mean, I know everyone did.
Who
but
didn't?
It worked out well. And then this game just existing reminded me, Jadeveon Clowney isn't in the league. Like, where is Jadeveon Clowney? He's got to be able to help some team
Post week 1.
in week 2.
Post week 1.
Let's take a quick break. We did a good job. As much as I'm fine with a 2-hour plus show because we are the best preview show in the business, we did pick up the pace quite a bit in that little segment. But we will be back.
We're back on NFL Daily. Greg mentioned it. We're at a good place, so I'm going to throw in, time-wise, I'm going to throw in a personal anecdote
Wow.
involving a player we mentioned last week on the show, and that is Matt Jones of Arkansas fame, one of the most electrifying athletes that we've ever seen. I was at the Troy versus Marshall game and paying attention to the Alabama-Arkansas game, which was going into overtime, and I thought to myself, you know what? I don't care what happens in Tuscaloosa. I am a Troy Trojan.
Yeah.
I am fully committed to this team, and that was it for the rest of my life. And this next game makes me think about this, Jourdan. Because Geno Smith
Oh,
and
wow.
the Las Vegas Raiders are playing Gregg Rosenthal's New England Patriots, who he is slowly starting to believe in. The Patriots giving up 3 points. The over-under is 42.5. Spiro Ditas and Adam Archuleta on the call. And Jourdan, what is the battle for Gregg Rosenthal's heart?
It's the Gregg Rosenthal Bowl. I love it so much. Greg admitted to us the other day, Steve, on the show, that he is back to being a Patriots fan.
As he should be.
Just I'm testing the water.
He used
should
the word.
be.
He used the word "we" to describe them.
Oh.
I'm not
went
going
there?
in all the way. I'm a more of a Drake May guy than a Mike Vrabel guy.
We
But
is
this,
pretty strong.
I will admit, because one thing I've done to feel a little more emotionally free is we assign the games out on Sundays because we all cover different
We
ones.
meaning you specifically, or
I
the
mean,
Patriots, who you referred to as the we.
the previous podcast around the NFL and NFL Daily. We assign out games, and I generally don't take the Patriots. I don't even watch them live. I mean, I am definitely watching Drake.
There it
May
is.
versus
I
Geno
literally
Smith
said we were
live.
talking
There's
about
there's no chance.
I mean, I don't know how Greg's going to be. If Geno takes an L, though.
We were talking about
I'm-
it.
If he
I'm
doesn't throw
rooting for
like
that.
4
Ultimately-
touchdowns without
Okay.
Christian Gonzalez on the Patriots team.
My perfect result, and yes, Christian Gonzalez looks very questionable.
Mhm.
My perfect result would be 41-37. Both quarterbacks look incredible, and the Patriots get a win. That's my perfect.
And the Patriots get the win.
Yes.
Interesting.
I'm not becoming a Raiders fan. I mean, I will.
No, I'm just
root
gauging
for
how
them,
all
but-
in you've become suddenly. You're back. He's all the way back. You never left. Let's be
but
clear.
I think you don't
I
know.
completely left.
You don't know until it's the third quarter. It's a 3-point game, and Geno has cut loose a beautiful looking seam ball, and in your heart you decide whether or not you want Dante Thornton Jr. to catch that ball.
I'll have mixed feelings. And I do think suddenly after adding Cooper, like, okay, now they've got some depth, because you mentioned Dante Thornton, this rookie who I think is still going to start. It really sounds like he's going to play a lot, and they'll just mix Cooper in, and they basically have 4 receivers, including Jacoby Myers, that they like and will play plenty, added to the 2 tight ends that they love.
Yeah.
Added to Ashton Jenney, and
I'm really
nice
high on the
breath and-
Raiders. I've been saying this. I know I
they'll
sound
be better.
insane to
They'll
some
be better.
people, but the defense is untrustworthy right now, and
Very
there's a lot of guys that
untrustworthy.
they've got to coach up, obviously. But like this offense is going to score points, and I would love to see that. I think Brock Bowers already had such an incredible rookie season. He is the perfect do-it-all weapon for Geno Smith. Any type of throw, which Geno can make any type of throw, any type of pass he throws, Brock Bowers can run any type of route. He can be anywhere in the stack, outside of it. They can use Michael Mayer as well now as sort of that 12 personnel look that can maybe give some defenses some trouble. They can run the ball. I'm so excited about this Raiders team to the point where I'm checking on myself a little bit. I'm like, hey Jourdan, are you okay? Like,
Is this
You're
the
pretty high on
team?
the
Because the other category we were going to throw out was team nobody's picking to make the playoffs that could.
Oh yeah, I could see them making the playoffs. A lot of other stuff has to go wrong injury wise for other teams in the AFC West, but
Pete Carroll's got to do a hell of a coaching job on defense.
I mean, they've got good
and
defensive
Patrick
ends,
Graham.
but on the inside, they've got issues. Their linebackers are all like one year guys, all productive, the Landon Roberts of the world, but they're on 1 year deals, and their secondary is an issue. But I'm gonna go, Patrick, to this lane we talked about, Gregg Rosenthal. Okay, I'm gonna dredge up some of the stuff you brought up.
Oh.
Okay, Bill Belichick used to coach the New England Patriots. Tom Brady is with the Raiders now. I want to pose this to you. Because here's something people are not talking about. This is why we're a smart show. Bill Belichick, now the head coach at University of North Carolina, is eligible for the Pro Football Hall of Fame this year. There was a rule change where head coaches only have to be out 1 season before they are eligible to go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. If those Tar Heels continue to get beat like they did, right, do you think selectors, the 50 selectors, might be like, maybe it was Tom Brady? Does it diminish the 7 Super Bowls? Right? Because here's the other twist to this.
Patrick shaking his
If
head.
Bill doesn't get in first ballot, you know who's already been eligible and then who's eligible in 2 years? Robert Kraft has been eligible. Tom Brady's eligible in 2 years. What about the scenario where they all go in together?
No, hold him off. I don't think that happens. I think the group of people in that room that had a bunch of counterproductive and pointless arguments over Terrell Owens for years are not having those same arguments.
1 year.
1 year. He only had to wait 1 year.
But he had to wait the 1 year, but the conversations
Marvin Harrison went in.
extended. Yeah. And so I don't think that those vapid discussions are going to take place after, TCU is running up and down the field constantly for Bill Belichick. And I don't necessarily think they should. When you initially started that, I was wondering if you were saying Bill Belichick's going to be, if things don't go good for Pete,
I was like,
Belichick's going to be in Las Vegas.
No, that will not happen.
That is definitely not happening. I'm glad you pointed that out, and I know we're previewing this game, but people don't understand these Hall of Fame rules, and you're our Hall of Fame guy, and I really follow it. I'm into it, and I'm into Belichick. I didn't know that rule was a thing either, because if he is eligible, and I think it's safe to say he's not getting a job as a head coach in the NFL, most like it's
Well,
very
not this season.
it's
That's
very-
all he has to do.
It's very unlikely that that's going to happen ever, in my opinion, and I would think the writers would agree with me there. And what are we doing with the Hall of Fame without Bill Belichick making it the first time he's eligible? He should be getting in.
There's a lot of people waiting on.
Although I'd love it.
Mike Holmgren, Mike Shanahan, they're on the cusp.
I'd love it if him and Brady went the same year, because
what about him and Robert Kraft?
not only would Canton never be more obnoxious, but that would save me one trip, because I'm going if.
do you think
Belichick and
they would
Brady
sit
are
them
there.
all at the same table together?
they're fine.
They-
No, Brady and Belichick.
They'd be bigger.
They're doing fine.
Then the party would be awesome.
Okay,
Stephon Diggs is expected to play. I know there was like some murkiness about that, but I expect him, based on what I saw at practice against the Vikings when they had joint practices, I expect him to be like kind of an outlet option, a slot guy, underneath option, especially when Drake may sees pressure. And you guys already know I'm super high on Travion Henderson. I think he is.
Oh yeah,
Right.
Awesome.
The Patriots are a sneaky team.
I worry with Christian Gonzalez, very unlikely to play in
Yeah,
this
you
game.
deeply personally worry.
Yeah, like Mike
about
Vrabel
Patriots
got
players.
very annoyed when there was a follow-up question on Christian Gonzalez, and he said, I mean, guys, please use your time as efficiently as we can about our team. And the Raiders telling them what to do. So don't ask these questions. It's like, Christian Gonzalez kind of matters. He's literally the best player on the team. I would say Drake May is the most important, but at this point, he's the best. So yeah, you're going to have a lot of points. Travion Henderson matched up against like Jermaine Pratt or Devin White or Landon Roberts. Let's
And
go.
they still got it.
To the moon.
Let me reiterate, my belief in the Raiders means that they have to score the points that I
Hey.
expect them to score.
But defensively, there is something to be said for scouting the potential future because Patrick Graham ran all that cover 3 last year. Who better to hire?
Oh no.
All right.
Pete Carroll. And so he comes in, and one of the few that got to
It's
stick
also
around.
the Josh McDaniels revenge game. Didn't even think about that. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah,
All right.
that's more revenge for the Raiders. Let's go to the Cincinnati Bengals at the Cleveland Browns, who are getting 6 points. The over-under is 47
They should.
and a half. Kevin Kugler, Daryl Johnson on the call. As Greg, the Bengals have said they're going to try harder at the start of the season. We saw Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase inexplicably playing in a preseason
He
game.
wanted to, and they have stunk early. It made sense.
So it's better. This 6 points is not an issue.
I'm going to take the Browns to cover that
Woo!
just based on,
They're going to win, Greg.
it's a division game, and in this particular matchup, and these coaches have both been there a while. In general, Kevin Stefanski, considering the talent that he's had, has gotten the better of this matchup. Even last year, where with
Right.
this Bengals offense humming, there was one game where they had 14 points and 12 first downs. It was pretty much their worst offensive game of the year, and it was right in the middle of the season. There was no
Schwartz, baby.
like Jim Schwartz and the Browns. I think media are at least hopeful, and people do forget this, that they could go back to a couple years ago when they turned the ball over quite a bit, the other team, and Ward and Garrett are at the very top of their game. They love Carson Schwarzenegger,
Yeah.
and that this is a top 10,
dang
top
good
5
player.
type of defense. That is their route to just being a pain. And I think it's like a sneaky big game for both teams, really. But especially the Browns, because, man, their schedule is absolutely brutal after this game.
It's a bigger game for Cincinnati. I mean, they've got to get out of the gate. Like you said, they played Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and all their starters early, and they just can't afford to get too far behind the Steelers.
If after all that, I hear that. If after all that they lose to the Browns in week 1, it'll be pretty big letdown.
I mean, look, it's week 1 again. The great non-truth teller. I'm with you. I think the Browns do cover the 6. I think it's good. And their rookie tailback that they got in Cleveland, Dylan Sampson out of Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
He's a player to watch. He's a fun, spectacular player. He'll be the backup to Jerome Ford, but we'll see a lot of him. So, we'll see. I like Cleveland to cover. I like the Bengals to win.
Mm.
Little Trey
Sure.
Hendrickson. Maybe it's Shamar Stewart versus pretty shaky offensive tackles. Jack Conklin was coming off a big injury last year. Dwan Jones. They did get their center back, Ethan Post,
Yes.
who was hurt in the preseason. Daniel Jeremiah and I argued a lot about Mason Graham. Well, this is a matchup. Show me Mason Graham, because you're going up against either some backup level players or hurt players. And if Lucas Patrick starts, they just signed Dalton Reisner, who might immediately start for them. So, let's see it, Mason.
I feel like we're getting to the point in that, by the way, because I listened to the 40s and free agents, and we're getting to the point in that banter where he is about to send you cut-ups of this player every single game. Like,
If it goes
send
well,
you like an
if it goes well.
ISO cam of this every single game.
Yeah, if it goes well, and if it does not, considering the talent that was available and the decisions the Browns made, that could be a huge one looming for the future of that franchise.
They never make bad decisions.
Yeah, no, it's generally good. Everything's generally good with the Cleveland Browns, who get a chance to send Joe Flacco back out there and go get some buckets. What's the worst that could happen, right? You get a chance to have Joe air it out one last time. I support almost everybody.
He's gonna be
over-
Here's the
Aaron
worst that can happen.
Take
you can
Jerry
send,
Jeudy in fantasy football this week. He's going hard in this game.
The worst that can happen is you lose this game by a decent amount, and then you're facing next week where you go to the Baltimore Ravens 30th franchise anniversary celebration, and Joe Flacco is over there starting for the Browns as the Ravens like parade up and down the field about the franchise that they stole from your town. That's the worst.
Let's go to the New York Giants at the Washington Commanders, who are giving up 6 points. The over-under 45.5. Kevin Burkhardt, some dude named Tom, and Aaron Andrews on the call, along with Tom Rinaldi as Steve. We had a chance to see Jaden Daniels the inaugural season.
Mm-hmm.
What's year 2 look like?
I think he's going to be fantastic. You got Terry McLaurin. This is a tough game, though, because that Giants defense is no joke.
Yes.
They are loaded on defense, and I think they may end up being in more games. Russ is not going to turn the ball over. This is the fact that they're 6 right here. The Giants are +6, getting 6 points is a lot to me. I think this is going to be a very, very close opener. Going to be a lot of excitement. Overall, Washington's going to be a very good football team. But this game's going to be much more of a toss-up than the point spread would show you.
Well, last year they would have covered that number in both games. If you think back to their games last year, the first was like kind of the classic Washington game. I don't think they got stopped once the whole game, but they just went up and down the field on the Giants and just kicked field goal after field goal. But both those games against the Giants were close, and it was typical. Just Cliff and Jourdan just nickel and diming them to death, but shortening the game for both sides, really, and it kept it close where both games came down to the fourth quarter. And that matchup, if you're the Giants, you're thinking about Abdul Carter and Brian Burns, and you're thinking about him going up. This is why you get Laramie Tunsil, but on the other side, it's going to be a rookie, Josh Connerly, and you hope you can win that matchup.
Yeah, and they're still missing. It's a reshuffled line, and Josh Connerly's going to have a big test, especially because they can rotate guys in. Kayvon Thibodeau is still going to come and sub into some of those rush packages. And oh, by the way, one of the best players in football is right in the middle, wreaking havoc. Dexter.
Yeah,
Lawrence.
Dexter Lawrence.
So but I will say the Giants actually are one of my teams that are kind of sneaking up on me as I'm starting to get really excited about and optimistic about, because I do think they're going to go to Jackson Dart early. I think that that Brian Daboll is going to sort of show his work and really want to show that he's a quarterback developer. It's part of the reason he got this job in the first place, for his work with Josh Allen. And I think that it's kind of something the fan base is going to want to get behind. But I think that there's other players in this offense now that might be able to be unlocked if they just get a little more stability up front. Theo Johnson is back at practice. He had a mysterious injury, right? And they have not disclosed to reporters up there what it was or why he was away. We might find out more about that later this week. But I just think he's on the verge of a true breakout season as someone who could be so friendly to a young quarterback if that young quarterback takes over.
There's over on the other side, because I know we're excited about the front of the New York Giants, but a lot goes on Javon Holland's shoulders to come in and kind of heal this problem that was not paying Xavier McKinney. And then the 2024 Giants go out there and allow 59.1% of their deep passes to be completed.
Not good.
That's the worst
Crazy.
in the history of the Next Gen Stats era.
Yep.
It was the worst. And so they address that. They go get Javon Holland, get a veteran presence back there. But it feels like it's all on him. And I know that they get a lot of pressure up front. But to start off against this Jourdan and Terry duo, where you're gonna test their deep pass defense at some point.
And Deebo Samuel's there. I saw him going deep. Terry was out. I was at practice, and Deebo Samuel was getting sent on go balls down the field.
I am curious if they're going to let Jourdan throw the ball more, or if he wants to throw the ball more deep, because on a per throw basis, he was one of the best in the league last year, but he threw, I think, deep less than almost any quarterback that played football.
It's just we remember every deep pass because they essentially won
Cliff,
the games.
And that's Cliff. That's Cliff. Cliff is going to still run just as much 12 personnel, led the league last year. Zach Ertz and John Bates blocking on the backside there. They are absolutely going to still run this Cliff Kingsbury system through the tight ends. It's always struck me, by the way, guys, historians in here, how funny that is that Cliff Kingsbury, the spread pioneer, no tight ends, 4 receivers, is now running more 12 personnel than anyone else in the league.
He's adaptable.
Anthony Lynn is on his staff,
Yes.
and he's like, Cliff,
Yep.
no more free rushes.
You know, I
coming.
teed you up.
Thank you.
And by the way, our guy Bill,
Yeah,
the
Bill
quarterback,
Merritt.
Alabama State,
listed,
baby.
he's freaking out. They're freaking out fantasy owners that he was listed as 4th on the depth chart. I do think fantasy guys are getting a little over their skis with Bill early.
They
Just
love
like
him.
depending
No,
on
they're not.
depending on the
No,
week.
they are
I'm
not.
saying like it could be a lot, it could be a
Nope.
little. I don't think he's just like an auto play
They
right
love
away.
him.
Little
It-
free fantasy advice.
That
for you.
that'd really be something if they tried Brian Robinson Jr. and then they just
No, I'm
don't
just
act-
saying
they love him.
they like the other guys on the roster too, and Austin Eckler, I would guess, will have the most snaps of any of them.
We'll see.
You were up. You spent some time
And
with there,
Steve actually has.
Yep.
I would tell you this:
Yep.
the rookie Jalen Lane, wide receiver too, out of Virginia Tech, they love.
He's probably their slot. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's going to get a lot of action too.
let's go to an offense at home that we're probably not as excited about. The New Orleans Saints are playing host to the Arizona Cardinals, who are giving up 6.5 points on the road in the Superdome. Over under a 42.5. Tom McCarthy, Ross Tucker, and Logan Ryan on the call. Jourdan, we have learned more. I don't even know if I can call them the search bar anymore about this Cardinals defense, but I'm glad. I'm glad they have graduated to just the Arizona Cardinals defense, and they start against Spencer Rattler and the Saints.
Yes, I'm glad the order kind of came around to me to once again talk about how much I like the Cardinals this year. I like how they run their defense. I like that you could see them
Are
guessing.
you back to being a Cardinals fan? Like I'm back to being a Patriots fan.
The difference is that even though I grew up in Arizona, I was never a Cardinals fan. They were playing in Arizona State Stadium when I was growing up, you know. I mean, shout out to Pat Tillman, though.
I mean, your sister is, right? She's a Cardinals fan.
She's a diehard Cardinals fan, but she also did not know who Trey McBride was.
Hey.
So, you know, you win some, you win some, you lose some. She's a brilliant scientist, folks, but I'm not gonna ask her who different players are. But yeah, I love how this defense has the potential to really come along. They've improved steadily every year, last in the league in EPA per play in 2023. Last year, they're about midway through the league in EPA per play. They beefed up their front. They're going to try to either A, manufacture more pass rush, B, get more naturally, and then they're also going to keep moving some of these like Joker type players that they have to help manufacture more of that pressure. And on the offensive side, I mean, it's still the Trey McBride show, but they really are expecting more out of Marvin Harrison Jr. in terms of his understanding of the offense, his chemistry and timing with Kyler Murray, and they're really, really expecting him to take a step forward in year 2.
Well, they might want to set him up to do well then. He was a
Yeah.
first-round draft pick. He's a potential superstar player. So help
The
him
offense
out.
runs through the tight end, though. That's Drew Petzing. It's a Kubiak system. Like,
Yeah, I've seen some Kubiak systems also. You know, like Andre Johnson down in Houston when Gary Kubiak was coaching on it was pretty good. Look, Arizona is my survivor.
There it is.
woo!
There it is, Jourdan.
Love it.
Arizona, this game here, you know, the Saints, again, this might be a week 1 non-truth teller because you look at their starting lineups, the frontline guys all the way across, they just can't sustain an injury. There's no big play. Well, there's some big plays because they got a lot of speed at wide receiver. But I just think Arizona, with the momentum they've potentially set the stage to develop, this is a good way to kick it off.
Like Olave, Shaheed, and Kamara is a nice group. Like it's not much worse. If it is worse than
They got Brandon
than
Cooks, too.
McBride, Harrison,
They
and
got
James
Brandon Cooks,
Conner,
too.
for instance. I would take the Cardinals side to be clear. I think that's
Yeah.
like more diverse. But I just mean if you lined up those 3, for instance, with other top 3 skill guys, like there is a lot to like. This Saints team is going to go as their offensive line goes because they've invested pick after pick after pick, and Kelvin Banks looks pretty good as a rookie, but who knows? But in training camp and in the preseason, I don't think they got immediate results from them looking like a cohesive group. And if it's not an above-average offensive line, like Spencer Rattler's going to have no chance in this game and in most games. And I just hope for more for the Saints. I'm not willing. It's
Do
home.
you, though? Do
It's-
you?
I want them to get a one pick. Yeah, I
think
want them to
I
be
think
competitive.
They catch a stray from you like every third
Well,
show.
but that's like it's like the Patriots probably got more like no one is more critical than a fan of their own team. You know what I mean? And then they're not my own team, but I'm watching.
You're adopted.
talking
You went to
yourself
college
into a
there.
corner here, Greg.
Kellen Moore and Gannon. You know, the 2 men who both had their lives changed by Nick Sirianni.
We did.
Matching up.
All thanks going to Nick Sirianni and the players, which I think had a significant role for both of them. I think, considering the way Talisi Fuaga started last season, especially on the ground, I know a lot of fantasy managers are fading Alvin Kamara because they don't have a lot of belief in this Saints offense. But in general, I think they will be committed to the run.
Yeah.
Especially considering what Kellen Moore was able to see last year in the run game. I think they start out pounding the rock and maybe keep this a little bit closer than that.
I agree. It's a lot. In week one, a home team being that big of a
in the
underdog,
dome
it's
too.
like,
That home field
Stay
is
away.
so real.
Stay away.
I am interested to see the crowd at this one too. After a couple really depressing years.
Oh no, they'll be out.
They'll be there.
They'll be out of this one.
Yeah.
They will be either stand up and get crunk.
And all they got to do is flash up a picture of Dennis Allen if they want to fire up that group of people, in the Superdome.
DA.
So many.
About the third straight. He's caught.
Random.
Straight.
I don't know when I'm going to stop. Let's go to our last game. The Tennessee Titans and the number 1 overall pick. Hey, welcome to the NFL, Cam. Here is the reigning defensive player of the year and a very good Denver Broncos defense. In Denver, the Broncos giving up 7.5 points, the over-under 41.5, Adam Amin and Mark Sanchez on the call. Greg, what a welcome to the NFL this is.
It is so unfair, and I am hopeful that even if he doesn't have like a great game in an almost impossible situation, I think they're undermanned in terms of the talent around Cam Ward, and then certainly schematically having to deal with whatever is coming his way from a veteran defense who added great pieces but already could do so much. Like, even if it goes really poorly, and I do think it will, that he just has a couple like Sports Center highlight, NFL games,
Probably
like
will.
moments where you're just like, wow, that was Cam Ward. So I'm going to enjoy watching those great highlights in a totally one-sided game, and that's why I'm taking the Broncos as my survivor pick.
Oh, smart.
That's
Very
a
well
good
done.
pick.
I mean, think about it. I mean, you look at the Broncos had potentially, in some areas a top-ranked defense. Vance Joseph. Then they add Tauno Hufanga, Dre Greenlaw. They sign Zach Allen to the long-term deal. They draft. They come out of the draft and they get. Why am I blanking the rookie out of
Today
Texas?
Barry.
Today
I'm so
Barry.
curious how they're going to
Barry.
use him.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to find a way on the field. So maybe not this game because they're not going to have to play much nickel or dime. I
I was
think.
gonna say you just have
But
a
we'll
nice
see.
easy one.
We'll see. But I mean, this defense is too good, and then Bo Nix is the real deal. So you know me, I'm a.
You know what?
Bo
I
Nix
do.
guy.
I loved it too, Steve, because last year I loved watching his ascension. Last year you were on Quarterback Island. You were pretty early on arguing for Bo Nix, and I'm expecting him to take another step forward into this second season, getting used to the weapons around him, getting more
Getting
weapons
R.J. Harvey in the backfield.
around him.
with
R.J.
Alvin
Harvey.
Kamara.
Sean Payton loves R.J. Harvey. And this defense, Mike Tomlin's talking about historic defense. I think the Denver Broncos have a shot at being an historic defense this season.
The Titans are going to need to manufacture some pass rush too, because they just don't have a lot of like one-on-one pass rush winners. I think they're, I don't know if excited is the right word, but optimistic that L'Jarius Sneed is back and practicing fully, that they like their top 3 corners overall, that they feel like they found something there. And who was it? Brownlee in the secondary last year. And McCreary's a good nickel. They brought in my guy, finally got a job. Kaiser White is back in the NFL and is like immediately the best linebacker on that team. Like, they're going to use their rookie wide receivers, but this is the definition of like a rebuilding team.
Yes.
On the way against the team that is pushing towards an opportunity to try to make a run in the postseason. I'm excited to see what things are going to be like for Evan Ingram in this offense. And I know he and
Great
Courtland
point.
Sutton are going to absorb a lot of targets, and maybe we won't see a fully operational Broncos. They may not need it, or the Titans could come out and shock us. Why not?
It's week 1.
I know.
Anything could happen in week 1.
I don't think anyone should ever feel good about any pick in week
No.
1 or Survivor or anything, but
I feel good about my.
especially a team in the Broncos that I don't necessarily think is like one of the 10 most likely teams to win the Super Bowl personally. I don't think they're at that level. So picking one of those teams, no
What?
matter who they're in,
The Broncos?
yeah. I mean, I would take 6 or so teams in the AFC. Yeah, I would.
You're gonna have to get 4 more.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's
that's a
fair.
lot. Top
yeah,
10.
I'm not judging. I think they should be top 10 Super Bowl favorites.
Judge me. Don't judge us that we need one more break, because we're doing something different on this show that we won't do the rest of the year. We are going to tell you who is making the Super Bowl.
Go.
Wrap the show.
Go.
I bet. back on NFL Daily. It was just bothering me, even though we did the over-unders podcast and picked the most likely teams to win the Super Bowl with Daniel Jeremiah. We never really just like planted our flag and said what our picks are. And I just wanted to get it on the record, and then we can honk about it at the end of the year if anyone's right. I mean, we may be the best preview show in the business, but we're not humble. So, Steve Wyche, you kick us off.
Some of us are not humble.
And you give me your Super Bowl pick.
Hey, man, I am. There's going to be no need for the National Guard to be in D.C. Okay, because
and there never was.
There never was, but. The Ravens over the Commanders.
Wow.
We're keeping it a DMV bowl.
Whoa.
Crab cakes, mambo sauce. We're just going to have it right there. Games being in San Francisco, but two teams hovering over the nation's capital, fighting it out.
There it is.
I love that. And there really is kind of a rivalry there among the fans. I mean, they don't play each other, but they're not fans of each other as like.
No.
I think that's like an all fun potential matchup there, honestly.
I
that's a good one.
You know,
Steve.
Lamar,
Really
Jaden,
yeah.
you know, let's have
a
some
really
fun
good
with
one.
I like that you're not only saying the Commanders aren't going to slide back, but they're going to get better this year. They're going.
I think they're going to be better. I think they'll be a better team.
Love it, Jourdan.
These guys, I was so high on them last year. Quarterback, I would build a franchise around tomorrow if I had a chance. They bit me in the you-know-what last year by failing to go as far as I would have liked. I'm picking the Houston Texans. Baby.
Wow.
I'm going different.
Yes, you are.
It's a wild card pick. If they can run the ball, and if they can't now, I guarantee you they're going to try to be able to do it before the trade deadline by bringing someone in. Hey, maybe getting by the Rams and trading for one of their 9 million running backs who they don't use. So I feel like this is a Texans team that knows what it's about. It has an identity. DeMeco Ryans has done such a fantastic job. And I think they've got this energy internally to them, and they didn't make it far enough to be gassed and tired coming into the second season. This burnout is real, and I have them going over the Eagles.
Okay.
And I know it's crazy, and Eagles fans, I love you, and I love your team, but man, I think this Eagles team is strong enough to get there, but just not quite get over the finish
It's
line.
extremely difficult to repeat.
Go back.
To get back every step, but you have them getting back to the Super Bowl for the third time in 4 years.
Houston Texans, please do this for me this year.
I love it, and that surprises me. And like you,
that's what I was going for.
I feel like you kept it close to the vest. I mean,
I did.
Very
all
nice.
off season, you're picking the Rams this week, but that's only week one. You say the Texans will get better, get there in the end. Patrick.
Yeah, and I'm sure I won't surprise you with my Super Bowl pick because I had said during last season and in the playoffs that the Green Bay Packers were a player away. They were a player away. That's why I thought they were in for Myles Garrett. And then I feel like a couple of weeks ago, they just called Dallas with the exact offer that they had for Myles Garrett, made the trade. They made a deal with Micah, threw some more money in there. So I will have them going to the Super Bowl and losing for the third consecutive year. I'm picking the Baltimore Ravens to win the Super Bowl. Again, the ball's not round. Circumstances happen. People make mistakes. I'm one of them. I've got Ravens over Packers.
I don't love that we're so in unison here because I, too, have the Baltimore Ravens winning the Super Bowl.
You mean I'm the only one who's idiosyncratic here?
It is.
Wow.
It is surprising. If you're watching on YouTube, Patrick has put a computer over the top of his head.
Made of Kevlar.
Maybe we're all just bored of picking the Chiefs for the first 4 years, I think, of Patrick Mahomes' starting career. I had them winning the Super Bowl, and it just at a certain point, you get bored of doing it. I had the Bills getting there last year, but I have the Ravens winning over the Lions in the Super Bowl this year.
So fun.
So I just
such a fun.
It's the game I want to see, and ultimately, like, I think that's not the worst way to pick things. I also think in terms of like continuity, talent, experience, the organization, like these two teams right now are right there with anyone. I think I'm just so impressed with what Detroit has done. It hurts me. I was thinking Detroit all offseason. And then when I wrote down the pick, it's like, oh, wait, Lamar and Jared Goff and like I got to pick Lamar. Let's go Ravens.
Yeah, it's funny how none of us picked the Chiefs, but I think we probably all feel, even though 3 teams from that division went to the playoffs last year, that division because the Raiders are going to be better.
Mm.
Like, that division is so hard. I don't think the Chiefs necessarily as vulnerable. I think that division is going to be so tough for them to come.
It's like those vintage NFC West late season matchups that they used to all cannibalize each other,
Right.
you know?
It's crazy though, because it feels like half the divisions in the league are like that. When you start the season, you have all these like great ideas. Like the NFC North is unstoppable. I love this AFC West. This NFC West, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like they're all so good that every division game feels so big. And like 6 weeks from now, everything we just said on this
Everyone's going to be good.
right is
It's like
gonna feel.
Houston's 9 games up on Jacksonville.
I really am excited about doing this entire season with you guys on this preview show and doing the show here from the Chris Wessling Podcast Studio. If you're listening to us, we love you. If you're watching us on YouTube, we appreciate you. Like and subscribe, and also check us out if you're listening. We are on the Fast channel, which is the NFL channel, on free over the I don't even know what you call it.
Free
Roku.
ad-supported television,
There
which
you go.
used to just be TV.
Tubi, the NFL app,
It's there.
Pluto.
And-
It's there.
And those shows will be airing every week on, when is it? Wednesday and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. All right. You will next hear me on a recap of an actual NFL game.
There we go.
Woohoo!
There we go. Let's get it. Well done.
We'll be recapping Eagles and Cowboys. That'll be me and Nick Shook. We're also going to be doing a live YouTube after the Friday night game. So get ready for Friday night's game. But yeah, until we're recapping an actual freaking NFL game, football's back!